In this video today, I am fixing the failing test from the previous video and improve it. Ball is not falling, is now failing. So, on the basic test island, I can see that the trigger box is a bit too high, which may explain the failure as the ball is still falling after. So, if I lower it a little bit, back to 460 on z-axis. Running test. Not detecting the impact. Okay, while I try to resolve this test, I will deactivate all the other ones. I'm thinking about deleting the basic test map, but as long as the basic test island is not working, I'd like to see that the basic behavior is still working. Which makes me think that why? The basic test map works without any problem? It is a bit more touchy for the basic test island. Let's move up the trigger box to 462 on the basic test island. Okay, it worked once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5. I need to find how I can ask, perform this test 20 times. Let me clear the log in case. Oh, I have seen a failure. Let's check the log. Yeah, that's touching. Because it seems to be touchy about the speed, I was wondering if instead of using the speed. This is the kind of situation I regret not having done a refactoring while the test was working. My blueprint is so messy. Anyway, instead of the speed of a ball, what if I check the location of the ball? Its world location, and put its z location in a string via a build string node, which I will append to this one, and send the results to this node. Are you following me? Compile, clear the log, run the tests. 1, 2, 3, 4. Funny. Sometimes it triggers on the bounce. Timeout is coming. Is it because I moved the ball too high in a previous test, but it is now bouncing more and then failing? Let's move the ball down and let's check the log. So on Z, it's mostly 550. Let's move the ball a bit lower. Run. Still failing twice in a row. Let's check the log. It really seems that the ball bounced back after hitting the trigger box. And in the meantime, it went up and falling down when the speed is evaluated on the event. Is it? Or is it triggering too soon? Well, anyway, I digress. So, the thing I wanted to try. On the start of the test, I am taking the ball and create a line trace. It has many usages. Let's make it to show trace. Let's get the wall location of the ball. It will be the start of the trace. Well, no, not on the start test, but every ticks. We will branch so that when the line hits something, we will print the hit location. With a keyword overlap for the filter. And of course, I need to define where the line ends. For that, I need to get the up vector of the ball. Maybe? which I multiply by -50, which is supposedly the radius of a ball which I add to the location of the center of the ball. Hence, the line will go from the center of the ball down to the external shape of the ball, a line on the up vector. Please teach me if you know a better way I can experiment this. So, compile, clear the log, run. Success! Maybe I do not need the trigger box from now on. Let's move it down to -461. I keep the value, but just change the sign so that it's not in the way anymore. Run. Timeout. But I can't see what is wrong. Let's make the radius a bit bigger. I don't like it, but I need to rule out possible causes. Nope, not working. Bigger? No. Let's try again. A line trace by channel, which implies a bit more overhead, but maybe it will work better. Same start and same endpoint. The hit condition. But now I have hit results, which I'm going to break into several pins. To get the hit location vector, or should I use the ball location? Let's try. Yes. Hit and Z is 550. So let's compare the position. Is there a break? Oh yes, break vector. So if the Z position is below 550, then I branch. If true, the test failed with the Z location message. I can remove a print. Success otherwise with the same message. Compile, clear the log, run. 1, 2, 3. The position where there is a hit seems pretty consistent, but maybe a bit too early. Yeah, 585. If I move out the island gen, 10,000 on x-axis, if I run, it hits. Okay, let's also see with which object there is a collision with. Adding back the print. Run. Oh yeah, I forgot the overlap keyword. I think there is blueprint in the trace. Yeah, colliding with BP ball. It collides with itself. Can I ignore the ball as actors to ignore? I need a function to create an array. Which one can I use? Make array? Let's try. Let's add an overlap keyword also. Compile, clear the log, run. Ball is falling. Let's bring back the island. Run. Yes. Overlap with PP island gen now. Perfect. Running seems more reliable. So let's move the island away again. And run. Ball is falling. Okay, so I have a test which seems to run. Let's move back the island gen. In the functional test, I don't need the overlap event and all this stuff. Is it still working? Looks like. And now, what would I like to refactor? I would like to get the size of a ball instead of static value. Get local bounds. Let's put in a string the min local that I am appending to the current message, and the max local, which I am appending also. Compile, run. Okay, 50. This is the radius of the ball. So, because my test is working, I can refactor it to use the actual radius of the ball rather than an hard-coded value. I can delete my prints. I wish I could see the trace. I think I need a tiny bit more than the diameter. Let's add one on Z. No. Get the Z value. No. Let's see what are the coordinates I give as the end of the trace. Not working because there is no overlap detected. So let's print it before overlap, so that I have a keyword. Why is 601 on Z? Yeah, it's the word location plus... let me try this. 51. And I need minus 51 compared to the center of the ball. Let's multiply by -1. Compile, run. Success! What if I add 0? Failure. Yeah, I need a bit of an offset. Let's remove the print. So I have the object under test that I put into an array to ignore it for collision. Maybe I can have a line trace out of the object under test. I will try once I am confident the test is working. Then I get the word location of its mesh. I get the vertical vector, maybe I don't need it. And then get the boundaries of a mesh. I take the Z value, add a bit, and multiply by -1 to make it negative, which I add to the center of the ball. So I can clean up a little bit. Still working. Let's move the island away. The test ends in timeout. Okay. Remove this trace. This break vector comes from the get word location. Then compared to 550. Why 550? First, let's run the test. Oops, my island. Okay, still working. Maybe this is where I can add the island under test of type VP IslandGen. Get local, no. Get actor bounds. Okay. Let's do print again. I need to learn how I can have this kind of information without having to print it. If you know, let me know. Compile, run. Okay, instance editable, set my island under test, run 5500, Z 650, origin -50 on Z, 600 plus -150 is equal to 500. Oh, plus the radius of a sphere. So I want the center of the sphere to be above 550. Let's confirm by printing the location when the hit occurs. If I move the island a bit lower, okay, 450. So I need the Z origin plus the Z extent plus the radius of a sphere. And let's print the values only if it fails. Compile, clear, run. Success! If I move the island to 0 on Z, success! Let's clean. I am wondering now if I could refactor this as a macro to calculate the Z position of the top of the island. Calculate top Z value of island. Copying these nodes into the macro, Let's add a return value named zValue and use it in the event graph. First, let's just connect the output and verify it is not breaking the test. Run. Success. Let's clean. My very first macro in Unreal Engine. Maybe a clearer way to make blocks rather than using commands. Let's continue the refactoring. Added some diagnostics messages. Let's verify. Run. Success. Run all tests. Now the basic test on a basic map is failing. Yes, this test does not use a trigger box anymore, and it is not using an Island Gen mesh neither. So I asked AI about what I could use, and the answer is actor. So let's try to add a new variable of type actor that I will call mesh under test. Let's make it instance editable. Yeah, finally, you can laugh. Use the new parameter and remove the old parameter. And not forgetting to change the parameter on the instance in the level this time for both test levels. If I made the changes correctly, my test should now be all successful. Yes. I am glad that the basic map test I wanted to delete actually forced me to make my functional test a bit more generic. Let's quickly review the test. First, the ball is falling test. I think I still need a trigger box. Yeah, that's okay. I have no reason to improve this test right now anyway. For the ball is not falling through the floor test. I still see a trigger box. Let's check the test. Yeah, it does not use the trigger box anymore. Remove a trigger box variable, compile. I delete the trigger box in the level. Save. Let's run the test. Still working. And the basic test map? I should be able to delete the trigger box here. Run the test. Still success. And finally, in the Highland is not too heavy test level, I don't need a trigger box. I don't need a ball. And in the test itself, it is using a BP Island Gen and not an actor. That's okay for now. Let's get rid of unconnected nodes. This set triangle could original. This part which was using a get dynamic mesh is not useful anymore. Let's run all tests. Success. And now I think I don't need setting this variable anymore too. So let's connect the get triangle output to the compare input and delete the parameter. Which deletes the node. Good. Compile. Run. Yeah, success. Running all tests. Success. Opening a command prompt. Git status. Git add to add the files. I need to go up. Adding the missing files. Commit. Yeah, because I made a fresh clone, I lost my git hook. Git push. And done for now. I just finished watching the first final cut of this video, and I realized that the sound is not always the same. I'm trying to have the same setup every time. I don't know why. Sometimes the sound does not sound the same. Sorry for that. Regarding this test, there are many improvements I could do. I will do that in the next episode. I am also slowing down making this video because, to be honest, I don't have much engagements, no likes, no comments. So I will do it at my own pace. If you find any interest, please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to see you in the next episode.